So today we're going to look at a basic and general return of serves. Major part of the game. So important to get established doing this fairly correctly. Other than serving, it's probably the next most important part of a game. So to start with, really basic is keep away from the table. Beginners tend to be really up to the table. We need to have a bit of an arm's length away from the table. Yeah, everybody be slightly different, slightly in, slightly out, but you do need a considerable gap there. Okay, and feet shoulder width apart so we can move. And like I said in one of my other videos about being able to step in any direction without losing balance. So you don't want, I sometimes see people really wide stance, which I don't think is a great idea. So you're going to have your knees bent, head forward, slightly lower than your normal stance when you're trying to receive, so you can judge the height coming over the net a little bit and watch the bat a little bit easier from this position here. Bat always above the table. Don't, unless you're playing with pimples or a defender, keep this bat above the table height, because you're probably going to come in, or if it's long, it's still going to be above table height anyway. Okay, so I'm just going to ask Anthony just to do a short backspin serve, and I'll explain how I would go in to receive the short backspin serve. So I'll just do the action again. And probably on this kind of return, he's short, tight serve, so I don't want to give too much away. I don't want to let him get in type of thing. So my aim is I'm just trying to get that ball back to double bounce on the receive. Yeah, and get it back nice and tight. Obviously there's all sorts of things I could do as a receive. If I wanted to, I could think, right, I want to dig it long to give him problems. I could, you know, shove it out over onto an angle. But in general, just get used to just touching it back. And you can see I steer very low. That is one of the most key things, is to keep your head down really low. And I transport my head in with my feet. So again, I say this on all the videos, it's all about what happens under the table on the floor. My foot does a double step. 1, 2. On all receives, no matter what. 1, 2. I'm going to move my non-playing leg slightly, only a small motion, before I move my other leg. If I just try to do this in one go, Anthony will catch me reaching. So if I leave that, you can see I can't get in enough to get control on the ball. I'm also off balance, so pushing back out is difficult. Whereas if I go 1, 2, I've transported in, and now I can keep my leg there and push back out quite quickly for the oncoming ball. Rather than if I just do this, then it gets hard to get out and stay balanced. So it's 1, 2. And I've got to take the ball nice and early. I'm trying to take it almost just as the ball's rising. Light grip. And I don't do too much. A lot of people, again, another common mistake is they do too big of a motion. It starts early, so they swing back like this, swing back to come in. Rather than just go directly in, there's my hand forward, my hand stays forward. Hands forward, hand stays forward. Yep, and that nice little touch and feel. So that's, if we go, look, that's looking on the backhand. If we look to the receive on the forehand, it's virtually the same thing. I'm just going to double step. This time I might step, rather than step kind of forward with my playing leg, the playing leg might go slightly more out to the side. But that would be the only change. I've got step, step, touch. Back out. Step, step, touch. And you can see I'm trying to take the ball nice and early. I'm not trying to do too much with it. I don't swing back. And from this position here, I've got options, because as long as I'm there, I can, if I want to try to flick it or flip it, I can do a flick or a push. I can do a dig long out across the court. Yeah, or I can do a flick. Okay, but in general, just practice. If you can get used to just practicing, controlling that ball, get in, head down, nice and close to the ball. Elbow, it's a must that this elbow is bent. A lot of people will do this, and they'll chase with the bat, but the bat will stay here in neutral until I'm almost at the ball. In fact, I idly move my arm away from my side I just get across, head down, look, see where it's going to go, and then I can push back. Okay, so what I'll do now is I'll get Atif and then Harry to have a little go, and we'll see how they cope with it and what they do technique wise. Good. Nice and relaxed. Good. So Atif's got his legs nice width apart, his knees are bent, he's nice and low. Try to be relaxed. Got to try and stay relaxed on receive for serves. Step, step. And if you look, his left leg and then right. The left step will generally be short, little short one. And the main distance is done with the plain leg. So just a little short motion with the non-plain leg, and then the plain leg will step to take the body behind the ball. Good, one more. Finish on a good one, finish on a good one. One more. Do the same serve. Good. Okay, good. Okay, so get yourself in a ready position to start with. Okay, that's it. Okay, good. Bend your knees just a little bit more. That's it, good. Okay, good. Unlucky, a little bit difficult for Harry because he's still only small. One, good. Now try not to straighten your arm. So there you'll see that Harry straightened his arm, so you've got to not try to straighten the arm, keep it bent. A little slight bend in the elbow, move your body right over. That was better, okay. And again, yes, good. That was good. Step, step. Now let's just see if he's got the step, step, left, right. Yes, good. So Harry did it there, a little step, step. One more. Step, step. Good lad. Well done, Harry. Yeah, excellent. But there was a definite step, step, which is not so easy to do. That's probably one of the hardest things to do, is get this habit of step, step. You also want this first step in, even if the ball's going to come long, because if I step and it comes back, I can push off that leg. Step, and so we're always doing that. So if you want to do maybe the odd long serve, so even if I'm still going to step, make that little step first and then go. So my feet is always more moving, and I'm always ready to push. So because if I come in and it's really long, I can push in and still step out and get my shot in. Okay, so I'm still always going to move that, because that will propel me out there to the forehand, or get me ready to come in, or get me ready to go out. But it's only this is only really small. For Anthony, if I do some serves to Anthony, with him being taller, his first step will be a lot smaller than mine. That's it. So you can see how low Anthony is. Nice and low. He's trying to be relaxed. Good. So something that's just a little bit more advanced, if you notice that Anthony actually, where I was coming in with my backhand push, Anthony's coming in with a forehand push, even though it's on more or less on the backhand side. It's because I naturally, when I do the serve, do side spin at the same time. So because I'm side spinning it, Anthony's going in, so his bat is on the same angle as mine. So as a rule, simple rule, if I hit this side of the bat, he's going to try and approach it on the same. If I did a reverse serve, go on this side, he'd go that way, to counter these serves. So if I do this, he's going to go in with that. He could do it off his backhand, but he'd have to come round more and hit the side. So when people are struggling with side spins, yeah, it's a matter of angling your bat on hitting the ball on the same side of the ball. I did it that way. Yeah. As a reverse serve. Yeah. Hit the same side. Like I say, the basic rule of getting any serve is, one, not to try to win the point at all. Try and just think, I'm trying to control it and position it back in a very difficult position for your opponent. Not doing what they want you to do or expect you to do. Rather than think, I'm going to try and win the point. Don't do that. Just try and make their life difficult. And the other thing is always get close to the ball. Even if it's long, you still want to stay close, let the ball come to you, If it's out here, make sure you get your body over there and use your body. Don't just try and get serves back with your arm or hand. Your body's going to do a lot of it. Even the push, it's my body's momentum coming in to do this push back rather than my arm doing it. Is there any questions?
The only one I'd say is, where you keep saying about this, the two-step.
Yep.
Is it literally all the time? Is that?
Yeah, yes.
Every time?
Yeah, basically I'm trying to think of the only time you probably wouldn't is if the serve came straight directly to you, because there's no need to move anywhere. But yeah, if you've got to move, doesn't matter which way you're going to move, you're going to set off, boom, yeah. Probably the only time it might change is if it came very wide to the backhand, off really wide off the angle, and then you might step, you might do this two-step the other way about. Yeah, but that would only be here. But it's still a two-step, yeah. If I went out here one, I'm reaching and leaning. As soon as I lose my balance, I'm going to lose control of the return. And also, you're limited to what you can do. If it's out here, I can't do a lot. If I get right behind it, I could chop it, I could loop it, flick it. So it's always about, receiver serve is about options. If you get there, I can dig it long, I can touch it short, I can flick it, I can come across it a little bit. Yeah, if it comes a bit longer, I can turn and loop it if I'm in position and balanced. If I'm reaching, to be quite honest, all you can do is a return. Very little else you can do if you're caught reaching in any of these positions. And even if you got this long, fast serve into the hip, which a lot of the top players will do when they do serve long, fast, it's still 1-2 if you can. Yeah, or you'd even go 1-2. So rather than trying to just do it in one go. Yeah. So it's a nice little way to keep balanced and also be able to propel yourself, because if I go 1-2, the further I can the further it goes, the bigger this step's going to be. Yeah. If it's only small, it's almost nothing. But it's like you're in motion now, so then the next movement's always quicker. Okay. Anything else?
Some players, when they are receiving, they start like hopping on the same spot, like as they're getting ready. Is that just a choice, or is that a best practice?
It's a choice, and like a lot of things, there's no right or wrong. If you noticed, Anthony does this, and it's quite a relaxed. He puts his hand on his hip, thigh, and he's quite relaxed. But a lot of the top Chinese are doing this as well. They'll put the hand here. I think Ma Long does it, doesn't he? If it's Ma Long one. I think Ma Long actually does this. I might be wrong, but certainly several top Chinese will do this. And I think it is a way of being relaxed. And when you receive and serve, you want to be relaxed. You don't want any real tension in your body, right? It's the one time you're under the most pressure. So by trying to be relaxed at the one time when other people would generally be under major sort of stress, I think it's a really good thing. So do you do it for relaxation? Yeah, you do, on purposely. Yeah, okay, so there you go. So Anthony actually does that actually on purpose. I tend not to, because I think your first movement's got to be to pick yourself up. But I think if it helps you relax, then so be it. And you know, one of the stances I don't like to see, and again, but there'll probably be some top players who'll do it, is when they go into a running stance like this kind of thing, because the first thing you're going to have to do is to go square. So I just think it's an unnecessary motion. But if it's done before you play the ball, if it's your personal preference, then for me it's fine. Yeah, you've got to get what suits you and be comfortable and relaxed. Yeah.
One of the things that you were saying as well is that the bat is always above the table.
Yeah.
Other than if you're a pimpled player.
Yeah.
Although Anthony actually has a relax where he's actually below the table.
Slightly.
Do you play pimples or anything, or is it just that you just...
He used to.
So it's a little habit that you've got into maybe that you're not even thinking about?
No, because the way I look at receive serve is like, I look at distance first. So wherever the ball goes, I look at distance first. So if I want it to travel off the table, so I'm ready for it without the start of, I don't have to do this.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? So I'm already ready, waiting for it to come long. If it doesn't come long, then I judge the height. Once the height's been judged, then it's the spin. So it's almost like one decision, rather than like being here and then having 3 or 4 decisions to make. It's like one. Does that make sense?
Yeah. It makes sense. I could counter that by saying that if you actually pick it up, or if you watch it back, although you hold it here, as I'm touching the ball, I can see half your back. Yeah, so it's not fully over there. Obviously you're tall as well, so if it comes very short now and you're here, you can get across quite. Where for me, if I was here and then for me to get into here is slow because there's a difference in height. The thing that I don't think is necessarily so great here is that if you're holding it low for a ball coming off, you've lost the backswing to get that little bit of a whip. So what sometimes happens, when I think about your game, sometimes does, you'll be a little kind of more of a pickup rather than a swing down and get that little zip in. Yeah.
I suppose I would have to look at the video again and see whether you actually hold it there when the ball's on its way. But what you're saying is you're relaxed and ready, but as he starts to make his move, the bat's up where it should be. Because you're already working.
I already know what he's going to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's anticipation most of the time.
Yeah. So there's pros and cons, because if Anthony's really comfortable like this, that's the most important thing. So it might not be, there might be pros and cons for being up here and pros and cons for being down here. But I think to be relaxed and be comfortable and, I think that's really a massive key to good receives.
Well, good practice to be above the net, above the table, but if it suits you...
Yeah. I mean, one of the ways that like everything always changes is maybe when I played, nobody would ever do this for a backhand. Now, most of the top players in the world receive backhands here on the almost wide forehand. So they come right across, boom, they can flick it from here and whatever, and it only leaves this little gap here for a forehand. That would have been deemed wrong, 20, 30 years ago, So things are always changing and moving on, and there's no right or wrong. You've got to find your own way. But if you're coming here and then you keep getting caught out there, then it's an issue. If you come here and you do unbelievable returns, you can get back here, and it's not an issue. That's fine if you can play like that. That's my opinion on receiver serve. Yeah. Okay. Right. See you on the next one.